What's up, everybody? Welcome into this brand new Wednesday edition of the Pack-A-Day podcast here on YouTube. I'm your host, Andy Herman, and it's kind of come to my attention that I guess, with launching this new podcast here on YouTube, I've never really totally introduced myself, and that came to my attention because somebody posted in the comments a couple days ago, who the hell is this guy? And I guess I kind of assumed that most of the people that were going to come and watch this were people who followed me on Twitter. If you don't follow me on Twitter, you can do so at Andy Herman NFL. That's where you can kind of get linked to everything that I do. But I suppose I should kind of give a brief introduction of who I am, how I cover the Packers and things like that. Grew up in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Been covering the Packers for some time now. Long time ago, started my own blog, SconnieSports.com, which about 3 people total read. Eventually moved to Titletown Sound Off, then to Cheesehead TV, and now I am a writer and editor for Packer Report. Usually write about 3 articles per week for Packer Report. Credentialed media member for the Packers, and again, you can find all of my writing at PackerReport.com. Also the owner and founder of the Pack-A-Day podcast. You can listen to me every Monday on the Pack-A-Day podcast. You can obviously find me here on YouTube as well, doing the video version. If you're not subscribed, please make sure to do so. You can also find this video version on PackerReport.com every day. You can also find the Pack-A-Day podcast wherever you get your favorite podcasts. As I mentioned, we have an incredible group of about 20 to 25 people that just bring their A game every single day. Better people than even they are podcasters, just an absolutely phenomenal group. So make sure to check that out. You can also find me on Green Bay Nation every Wednesday on CBS in Green Bay, WFRV. You can also find me on Pro Football Network. I do a podcast every Wednesday as well, live with Tony Pauline. I think that mostly does it. You can usually find me on Mondays with Aaron Nagler breaking down the game on his Let's Talk Football segments. You can find me on Better Call Eversol every Monday, talking with Marcus Eversol. You can also find me every Thursday in lacrosse with John Papadopoulos at 4:30. So suffice to say, I've got a lot going on, and you can find me in a variety of different places. But again, the best place to find me is either right here on YouTube every day, 365 days a year, or you can follow me on Twitter at Andy Herman NFL. If you also want to follow the podcast, you can follow it at Pack-A-Day Podcast. So that's me. Thank you so much again for taking the time out of your day to listen to me talk Packers. I have another topic, obviously, that I want to discuss today. I'll be going over my offensive grades, which I literally just finished up. Before I get to that, the big news of the day, of course, the Packers activated Allen Lazard off of the injured list, off of injured reserve for the 3 weeks that he was required to be on. Once he started practicing, they had a 3-week window to activate him. That was due on today, on Wednesday, and they obviously took care of business yesterday on Tuesday, making sure that they activated him and that they weren't going to lose him for the rest of the season by not activating him in time. I do think maybe, though, that some people are jumping to the conclusion that, okay, they activated him off of IR, which means he's ready to go and ready to play this week against the Colts. That very well may be the case. I just don't know that we necessarily know that as of yet. Remember, he was practicing and getting close last week before the Packers game against the Jaguars. However, it seemed like he had a little bit of a setback, didn't practice, and then ultimately didn't play in the game. That could have been nothing. It could mean that he's ready to go and he's ready to play this week. But I think until today's practice, we're not going to know if he's out there and seemingly ready to go, or if he just might need a little bit more time and they only activated him because that window has closed or was about to close, and they didn't, again, want to lose him for the season by not activating him in time. So let's not jump to the conclusion quite yet that Allen Lazard is 100% ready to go. Let's hope that's the case, and let's hope that he's able to play against the Colts. But let's see what practice brings this week and if he's able to go. If so, it would be a huge addition to the offense. Just getting David Bakhtiari back. The offensive line is finally intact. They got Aaron Jones back. They just got back Devontae Adams. Hopefully he's able to practice this week coming off of his injury as well. And then, of course, now they would be getting back Allen Lazard. And I'd still think their best lineup is Lazard, MVS, and Adams at wide receiver, probably Robert Tonyan at tight end, Aaron Jones at running back, and then their full offensive line, which they now have outside of Lane Taylor, I guess, but Lucas Patrick's been really good in that spot anyway. So we'll see what this week brings and if Allen Lazard is able to return, but nonetheless, a great step in the right direction that they were able to bring him off of IR, and hopefully that means he's able to play sooner rather than later. All right, let's get to my grades for the week. If you missed my defensive grades, you can check the episode back out. I just posted it yesterday right here on YouTube, so you can get my top 3 and bottom 3 graded players on the defense. Also, later this week, I'll be posting large articles on Packer Report. Usually they launch on Thursday morning and Friday morning, where you can get every single grade for every player. It's done throughout the season, so it's tabulated throughout the year, and you can see who's kind of trending up, who's trending down, so on and so forth. So. But without further ado, number 1 on my list this week, as kind of per usual, is Aaron Rodgers. He obviously had the really bad interception in this game, and that was a play that I downgraded pretty heavily. He also had some pretty phenomenal plays. I thought the deep throw to MVS was just ridiculous. And you talk about throwing a perfect ball in windy conditions right where it needed to be, hitting MVS in stride. MVS is a fast guy, so you have to make sure you're hitting him in stride, that you're putting that ball out there enough for him to run under it. Plus with windy conditions. Plus, if you look, he was kind of throwing off his back foot a little bit because of pressure, not just because he was using poor mechanics or anything like that, but because some pressure was coming up on him. Just a ridiculous ball. And then, to me, one of the plays of the year so far that's just going to get completely lost in the shuffle is the play where Aaron Rodgers threw the touchdown to Davante Adams that didn't count, not the one at the end of the game to take the lead, but earlier in the game. This is just a ridiculous play all the way around. Davante Adams, his route just completely shakes Sidney Jones, and it's a work of art. It's just classic Davante Adams, how he uses his head and his body and everything to sell what direction he's going to, cuts back inside, is able to kind of come up. They're playing cover 2 under, so the corner's playing underneath of him, and then the 2 safeties are over the top. He just kind of shakes the corner, he splits the safeties, and then makes a leaping catch on the play. Huge play for Adams. And then Rodgers, he has to escape the pocket, and as he's escaping, throws on the run and just hit. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous ball to Davante Adams. It hits him only where Adams can catch it. Adams can go up and make a leaping catch, a leaping touchdown. The safeties have no chance at it, and he's throwing it on the run, off balance, and it's just in a perfect spot. Just a gorgeous play. Of course, it came back because of a penalty on Billy Turner. Your mileage may vary on how you think that penalty should be called or shouldn't be called. It was still poor protection on that play by both Lucas Patrick and Billy Turner, but you still grade that play for all the players that are on the field. Just because there was the penalty and it didn't count, you still give them credit for making the phenomenal play regardless. You downgrade the players that allowed it to be a penalty and erased, obviously, but you still got to give a ton of credit to both Rodgers and Davante Adams on that play. So Rodgers was 1. Number 2, I don't think will be any surprise. It was Mark Westwell-Scaling. 4 catches on the day. Just a monster day. The play that I already mentioned, the bomb from Aaron Rodgers, did a great job. Just outran Sidney Jones, ran under it, and then just his run after the catch ability, using the referee at his will, to his benefit. Just a really great run after the catch to make sure that he got in the end zone. Great route. I guess I shouldn't say great route. It's literally just a go, but using his speed to just beat Sidney Jones right off the line, then get under the ball, make the catch, make the play. I thought that was great. He also had the play late in the game that really set up Davante Adams' touchdown. It's just a little screen, but he ran really hard. Both Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur have now mentioned that play specifically in press conferences, both after the game, and I think it was on Monday for Matt LaFleur. Just how good that he was on that play, just the run after the catch, running really strong, running through a tackle. His other catches were, all impressive plays. A really big third down, conversion where he sat down in his zone and Rodgers trusted him to sit there, threw it on the line, and he converted a big first down early in the game. So just a really nice day from MVS. Struggled a little bit with run blocking early in the game. Cleaned that up later. I thought he finished the game much stronger in that regards, but as a receiver, not much more you can ask from him in that game. And then number 3, which is kind of consistently on my top 3 every single week, Corey Linsley. Just another phenomenal game. Plus, +1 rating once again. I think he's done that in all but one game. Just a picture of consistency, pass protecting, run blocking. Struggled a little bit towards the end of the game. Allowed a few defenders to penetrate, past the line of scrimmage a little bit later in the game when they were trying to close things out. But overall, just another really great game from Corey Linsley. It's really tough because now David Bakhtiari being paid, You've got, Elton Jenkins as kind of the future of that offensive line. You've now wrapped David Bakhtiari up. You've got Billy Turner and Rick Wagner kind of on interesting deals where you can get out of them if you want. Are you going to pump more money into that offensive line with Corey Linsley? But no question of the remaining free agents, Corey Linsley is the one that's playing the best this year and has been the most consistent really throughout his career in Green Bay. Just a really phenomenal season that he's having so far, and arguably the best center in football right now. Bottom 3 graded players, number 1 was Billy Turner. No, I say this every week, but again, it wasn't anything super egregious for Billy Turner. He did have the big penalty. Again, whether you want to consider that a penalty on the hold, it certainly was not a penalty, and I did not downgrade him when he got called for the clipping penalty, although both of those plays, even if they're not penalties, really bad plays, Turner gets thrown down into the blocker, and then they call the clipping penalty or whatever they called on it. And then he allowed pressure on the holding call, kind of hooked him at the end. Again, it's one I know you can probably say, well, they could call that on every play. Maybe it's not a great look overall from Turner on that play, whether you want to call the penalty or not. Those are 2 bad plays. Had allowed a couple other pressures, so wasn't a great game from Turner, wasn't a horrible game from Turner, but certainly some plays in this one that he'd like to have back. I think, again, a little bit accident forgiveness because he's been going from right tackle to left tackle to right tackle. Hopefully he can stay at right tackle the rest of the year and really, kind of gain some stability to be able to have a really strong remainder of the season. The last 2 didn't grade super low at all, but Jace Sternberger and Equinemius St. Brown. Jace Sternberger, on the field, 20-plus plays, no catches, a couple really rough blocks. He's about 1 play a game where he tries to cut somebody and just completely whiffs on it, like literally 1 play a game. Something he's got to clean up. I know Ben Fennell tweeted out that, some of the issues with Sternberger's technique, which is very apparent week in and week out from a blocking standpoint. He's just got to get a little bit better, and Green Bay's got to find a way to get him open in the passing game, use a little bit more of his run after the catch ability. But when you play 20-plus snaps, can't get a target, and struggle in run blocking, you're not going to have a great grade. And kind of same thing with Equinemius St. Brown. 30-plus snaps, no targets, struggled to separate. Did have a nice double move, but the safety was over the top. Rodgers couldn't get it to him. Overall, just struggled separating. We haven't seen the EQ that we saw kind of from his rookie year, where he was able to make some plays from time to time. Really been a non-factor when he's been in the game, and I think it's one of the real big reasons that it's going to be great to get Allen Lazard back on the field. Just a consistent receiver that you know what you're getting. EQ has not been able to find that separation, hasn't been great as a run blocker, so he's got to find a way when he's on the field to make something happen and be a little bit better so that he can earn additional snaps. Right now, he has not done that. That does it for me. Thanks so much for tuning in as always. Make sure to check out Dusty, Steve, and Sarah wherever you get your favorite podcasts. I'll be right back here tomorrow on YouTube. But until then, and as always, go Pack Go.